We are live.
Hello, hello, and welcome to our second and last of the candidate forums, in which, we have various members of the officer candidates here for the positions for the Pirate National Committee officerships coming up in our elections, which are tomorrow, and that meeting will be held also here live streamed, I believe. We are doing a live stream for that. Yes, thank you. Quick round of introductions, of course. We have with us here. We have with us here above me, Bosun, the outgoing chair.
Depending on where you go.
Oh, okay, I suppose. Oh, yeah, no, that's above me in the chat, but it's going to be actually on the live stream. It's entirely different because it's the focus mode. We have here Bosun, who is the outgoing chair of the party.
My cat.
You're what?
With John Luke.
Oh yeah.
Cat.
Who was the head of the Wisconsin Pirate Party, and is currently in the second round of and Mitch is going to be joining us as well. Nice. Currently in second round of being the chair of the United States Pirate Party. Bosun, you want to give a little intro to yourself? That should be that's Malt, not Mitch.
Malt.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm late.
No worries. Welcome.
Also,
you, bro.
Bosun, I love your cat.
Ah, good. He appreciates the airtime. He doesn't get a lot of airtime.
And then we also have, of course, Bosun is going to be is currently up for our vice chair position. Bosun, you want to give a little bit about yourself and just
Like I was the chair, and I could probably be a decent vice chair because I know what is involved in being chair. The vice chair is a little bit like, I think one of the vice presidents said that being vice president of the United States. One of the vice presidents said being vice president is worth a warm bucket of spit. That's about the way when you're like the guy who's there in case the main guy falls over dead or is incapacitated. You really don't have a massive influence on the organization. But I promise to be good at it. Not having a massive influence and trying to be nice to everybody and work to expand the party.
Fair enough. An interesting quote to use. And I'm sure your influence, it certainly has been felt and it will continue to be felt in the years to come. Should you...
and I pay you to get these comments, right?
Yeah, of course. I got the bribe in the mail and, it's all good. Transparency, right? That's what we're all about.
Yeah, right.
So at least we're vocal about it.
In the old days, they
sarcasm
didn't cover it up.
So we also have, of course, James O'Keefe, Joe Keefe, who is here with us, head of the Massachusetts Pirate Party, and also was our lovely secretary and is going for that again, and will be Jamie, you want to talk a bit about that and about what you do, who you are?
Sure. I pledge to continue to make sure the notes are legible and timely and kept organized going forward. I personally have other duties as chair of the Massachusetts Pirate Party and other activities, like we have a Massachusetts Mesh Network that I've been helping with and other things. So I've got a lot of balls in the air, but I'm happy to continue to be secretary at least for the next year, and happy if someone wants to be an assistant secretary and help me out with that. That's always a wonderful thing. And, you too could be secretary in a year.
Mhm.
So, or now.
You
Anyways. But yeah, I help to keep things organized moving forward and making sure that we continue to grow.
Thank you. And you have been doing an excellent job of that so far. Jamie, as the head of the Massachusetts Pirate Party, which, as many of us are aware, and if you aren't aware, is currently the kind of the lead state pirate party in the United States Pirate Party, and is definitely taking point on a lot of issues, especially in establishing a real ground movement in terms of getting people, getting a direct democratic involvement and establishing that sort of base level of local organization that we'd love to see as a party. So awesome work.
Thank you. We try.
Awesome work. Joe, who is
Who's there?
Joe over here.
He's Irish.
I'm a wee bit Irish.
Yeah, you got the Irish mug. Very nice. Very nice.
Irish shot glass.
Oh, nice. Irish shot glass.
I'm a wee bit Irish. Not as Irish as Mr. O'Keefe over there, but I got a wee bit. I got that Boston blood going on.
Oh, good.
Everyone has a bit of the green in them.
On St. Patty's Day, everybody's Irish. Cheers.
There you go.
But I commit to making sure that I keep this beautiful forehead going forever, and that I keep the book straight so that they can't crush us. We will be uncrushable, and we will keep things straight. And if there are penalties to be paid, I'll find a way to make us keep going, just for you, just to keep up the fight. But like Mr. O'Keefe, if I would do the job until I'm dead or until you find somebody better.
And to clarify, you were treasurer, and you are going for that again?
Yeah, I prefer the term quartermaster.
Yes, of course.
But I accept treasurer because it literally means the same thing. Making sure that all of our ducks in a row and all the counting is done. There is a sub-position called the bean counter, where you can come and make sure that the bank account exists and everything's accounted for, which is also another position that we're looking to fill, kind of like the secretary position for Mr. O'Keefe or vice president, which is, but that being said, I'm happy to share the books of how much money we have at any point any pirate asks. So, and that being said, I'm happy to continue to do it for the Pirate Party until somebody else takes over. And that being said, I can continue to just shell out my ridiculous ideas and keep us going, keep us moving forward. So.
And we've been doing pretty darn good at keeping a steady keel, as it were, with that so far. So we really appreciate your help there, Joe. And as always, your continued presence is very much appreciated, not only with that, but also in assisting with our meetings and in assisting with various other things around the USVP and the PNC. including, of course, the platform committee, which you've been working on. So
That
been fun to see.
And honestly, I'm gonna be here for the long haul, and so long as we keep on chipping away at what needs to be done, eventually it will get done. If not by us, then by those who leave it to. So that's the real secret behind it. Not give up and keep on going.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
and we have great people like another compatriot from Massachusetts as well, Malt.
What'd I do? I didn't do nothing.
Introduce
We're signing you up for more work.
Oh
Get up
god. Okay. I'm Mulch Schlitzman. My real name is Sam. I am very good at encouraging large groups of people to engage in coordinated harassment against me. And I also like gardening.
I think Malt is being very modest here. He has done a lot of work in helping with the planks themselves directly, in helping with the wording. So I think that he is underscoring what he contributes to the Pirates. He, as one person mentioned on the YouTube videos, he is the absolute best and worst thing about them. So you'll never live that down so long as I remember. So thank you for all that you do.
That's just dramatic range, baby.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your continued contributions, Malt,
You want to admit-
for the best and the worst.
Don't want to admit that you're a honored and award-winning author of the planks. Malt. He's being called.
I have to admit the auto translation for from whatever language that was really does a lot of the heavy lifting for the poetry for me. Like, even if it is mostly accidental, they have some very nice turns of phrases in there.
Oh, so you just copied what the Germans wrote and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like an Italian writing an opera.
Ah, okay.
Fantastic.
I thought the Italians were good at operas.
Well, it really depends on who you ask.
I mean,
That's what we always tell the Italians.
yeah. I mean, I
The
think
Austrians
weird
think they're
that
best.
a Viennese guy gets honored for writing operas. That's Mozart, in case you.
Right?
In Italian, right?
I have to be honest. This opera joke was punching slightly above my intellectual weight class.
It's going over my head as well.
What'd you expect? A happy ending? Anyway. Oh no, there'll be a copyright claim now. Sorry.
I don't know. I think Shakespeare holds all the copyrights on everybody dying at the end, right?
Well, those expired long ago. Thankfully.
Thankfully, they haven't extended copyrights that long yet.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, Shakespeare's errors might be.
They might be listening. They might be listening. Okay, so we have some things we want to discuss tonight. Of course, we want to make sure that everyone who is listening in gets to know a bit more about each of us. Oh, I should introduce myself. Okay. Hi, I'm Yari. I also go by Rose. I am going to be, I'm running for the chair, also known as the captain position. I was like, there's two names for it. I have been involved with the Pirates for a number of years, and I'm very excited to see a lot of the growth and interesting changes, both ins and outs of the members that have been happening over the past number of years that I've mostly been lurking in the shadows of this organization. But that's largely been because I just haven't had the time through college and through other various things that I've been pursuing. But now I do. So I'm very, very happy to be here and be able to.
Tell the world what your degrees are in.
Oh, yeah. So I have. Thank you. I have a degree in astronomy, well, astrophysics, and a degree in elementary education. And then I'm going into the field of game design. So it's
You're using all that other stuff.
Yeah, at some point, I got to hear the path that took.
That is what most people say when I tell them that, and yes, it's a journey. It was a little bit of a shift, to say the least. But anyway, so one thing that I'm curious about. So I know, so of course, before we jump into some of the questions that we have for each other, or some things that we just want to get going and talking about with each other, I want to make sure that any of our viewers are aware that this is essentially meant to be a Q&A. So if you have questions for us, ask them in the comments. That is what we are here for. We're here to answer your questions. If you have things that you want to know about the Pirate Party in general, if you have things that you want to know about us, if you have things that you want to know about policies, any questions, this is an open board. We are more than happy to answer them. So whatever you are thinking about with regards to the Pirate Party, we are happy to hear it. And remember that our live chat is open down below, but also if you are watching this later, we are more than happy to answer questions in the comments when you make them. And we also have are monitoring our Discord feed and are monitoring our Internet Relay chat, our IRC chat currently.
And can anybody send a message to info@uspirates.org?
To ping out about the...
To ask a question or say anything they want to us.
Yeah, sure. That's true. That's an excellent point, Poston. Yes, you could, if you wanted to email your questions, you can also send them to info@uspirates.org. That's a good point. And that will reach us as well. So there are many, many, many ways to contact us.
And I'd like to just throw in there that it's not just right now. If you ever want to reach out to us, don't hesitate. We're here. We all have committed to serve and want to serve you. So don't hesitate. I know we field questions all the time through the info, and from high schoolers to law students and everyone else in between. And by all means, reach out to us whenever you need to. I know that we have some exciting news too. I do digress a little bit, but I do believe we're going to be trying to gain observer status for the International Pirates as well. Jamie, could you tell us more about that?
Sure. Can you just say that one more time?
Did I confuse you? We went off on a tangent. Sorry.
No, I was just looking at what was coming in for chat, so I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, you can always reach out to us, and we're continuing to do stuff as well, such as trying to become observers for the International Pirates, especially seeing what they're doing over in Germany. Would you mind sharing what some of the things that we're looking to accomplish with that, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Massachusetts Pirate Party is looking to become an observer of the International Pirates, just as a way of. I mean, I know I've been lucky and have been able to go over to Germany and the Netherlands and meet with pirates there years ago. And pirates have come over here from Germany and France, into say Massachusetts, and we've met with them. So just having more opportunities to meet with other pirates, I think, is a useful thing that we need to do. The U.S. Pirate Party is independent of Pirate Parties International. And I take no position on what the U.S. pirates should do in regards to that. But we should always be communicating with folks and sharing ideas about what works. I mean, the Czech pirates have done a bang-up job and may very well become the top party in the next parliamentary elections. The German pirates have done well and have a member of the European Parliament there. The Icelandic pirates are just incredible, and they continue to be in the Icelandic Parliament. So there's a lot we can learn from parties throughout Europe, in Asia, and other parts of the world. Just a matter of kind of reaching out and building those oftentimes individual connections. In terms of what the U.S. Pirate Party needs to be doing, I mean, we need to be building up state parties. I mean, tomorrow at 6 Eastern, I'm going to give a talk on running for office. I mean, ideally, that's kind of putting the cart before the horse. You really need to be starting your kind of local chapters and your state chapters. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But there's a lot that people can do running for low-level offices, city, town, things like that. Just getting known that are incredibly important and that help to spread the pirate message. So, we want to encourage people. We want to train people so that people can kind of, take the reins in their area and just run with it.
And an important reminder to that note, actually, is that I believe we had a talk recently about starting up local and state chapters, which was one of the recent live streams. So that should actually be a video on our channel that anyone could watch if they wanted to. So if they see your talk tomorrow, Jamie, and they are particularly inspired by what you say about running for local office, or they're particularly inspired to take up sort of the mantle, perhaps they can find some references there as well, and some useful information in that other stream as well to how to start that process up.
So, if I may interject, so we had the idea that we needed someone to moderate us and to make sure that we kept on track. So Malt was nice enough to offer to do that. So I think if he has any questions that he wants us to answer, maybe that would be, since the rest of us are all candidates and he's not a candidate. I'm sure he'll think of some interesting things for us.
I mean, he should.
Otherwise, I do have a list.
I can't find the YouTube chat we're talking about. So if someone could send me that link, that would be great.
I'll send you that link. Sure.
Okay, thank you. So I would start by asking, in an ideal world, 1 year from now, what will you have accomplished? And I think, Bosun, would you like to start that one?
Helps to put the microphone on.
A bit.
Okay. That's inconceivable that there would be an ideal world. And what would I accomplish? Well, I would like to get more people involved in Wisconsin. I would also like to see that Illinois is properly constituted as a party. I think if I somehow manage to get those two things properly done, I will have felt like I did something. Should I talk more on that?
No, that's great. Thank you. All right, Jamie, what will you have accomplished in a year from now?
Let's see. For the National Party, of course, just keeping the notes and making sure that that's communicated to the membership, to state parties. I mean, one of my other hats is on the IT committee and kind of pushing that through. So I want to find someone else who's willing to take over that responsibility. And myself and Bosun and some others have been doing it, and to kind of expand the pool of IT people who are maintaining our various systems, be it the blog or say this live stream, as well as, our customer, our supporter list and things like that, and be able to, in a year, have a group of folks who can who can kind of run with that, and so I can go focus on other things. So I guess, I want to find people to replace me, so I can do other things, and they can then go on to train additional people.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And how about Yari?
Sure.
What would you like to accomplish?
The more concrete things. So there's more concrete things, and then there's one more nebulous thing. The more concrete things, I want the California Pirate Party successfully not just started up again and a member of the Pirate National Committee, but I want it to have at least a year from now, at least 20 active members. I think that's doable. I think that's more than doable.
Sorry, active members or active member parties?
Active members. California Pirate Party.
California.
Oh,
California.
California.
California. Gosh, I don't think I
Sorry.
could get 20 active states in a year. That would be a great goal, but that'd be nice. That's a goal. We'll see. But no, California Pirate Party, I think 20 active people is like the minimum I would shoot for. If I can grow bigger than that, that'd be great. So that's one of my personal concrete goals. Another personal concrete goal is making sure that the Discord is completely out of my hands and completely automated, because right now that the Discord community is kind of, that's a little too much me being hands-on with that, and I would like to not be. The other thing, what was the third thing I was thinking of? Oh, outreach. I want there to be a newsletter. And I want the newsletter to regularly go out for the U.S. Pirate Party. And the nebulous thing, which is, I think, kind of my lofty goal, which is, I think, also the most important one, which is I want us to have I want us to have a fair degree of attention around the goal of getting ranked choice voting as a ranked choice voting like across the US. I think that is a doable thing given the current political climate. And I think that it can be done in the next 5 years. And I think that the Pirate Party can be a significant part of that if we push for it. So I would like to get some steam going on that, frankly. But I don't know. I think, the next year is critical for that. And I think that depends on how willing everyone else is to make that be a priority. That's me, personally.
Nice. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to break objectivity for a minute and say that I agree with you 100,000% on ranked choice voting. Frankly, disgusted that the Democrats are not pushing voting reform harder.
Right.
Aye. So, assuming Joe is still with us.
I
Joe,
am.
Awesome. Joe, if you had a rock star year, what will you accomplish by the end of it?
I would have an amazing band. My eyebrows would be long like a kung fu, like the old school kung fu movies, and then I would have hair again. So I just foam that over my head.
Priest white eyebrows. I love that dude.
Yes. How'd you know they were going to be white? But on a serious note, my goal is fundamentally to make sure that we are uncrushable, and those who would lay waste to us is not going to be done. I know that Jamie has been pawning stuff off on, and I know that he's been looking at me for the YouTube thing. So I am in the process of, hopefully, whenever I get my office done, to build an actual YouTube studio where we can greatly increase the production value of our YouTube videos by leaps and bounds, and really give a larger chunk of devotion to that, as well as having a much more solid home base for editing and all that jazz. I want to continue focusing on, like Yari was saying, continue focused on the whole output of what we're doing with the newsletter, though I like the video a lot better, only because it's more modern. A lot of people, some people are comfortable with reading, and we need to be on all platforms so that we get to people and get the message out. But what's comfortable for me is actually seeing someone's face and seeing them talking. And if we can increase our production value and make it so that it's actually a nice video for us to watch, I think that's going to be a big step in the right direction, especially with sound and audio qualities, and making it more uniform, just having a place where we can meet on a monthly, weekly basis, and sit on a couch, and we can have Malt interview us like we're on the Oprah Malt-free show.
There's a reason I do not have a television show on the local access network, and it has nothing to do with any kind of restraining order. That was something entirely different. Anyway,
What's done is done.
Well, thank you all for your answers. I think the next question I'd ask you is for your respective offices, what do you see as the most crucial responsibility? I'm gonna flip up the order. Yari, what's the most critical responsibility for the office that you're seeking?
So I'm going for the chair position, which being at the head of the organization, I mean, really what that means is twofold. I think it means knowing the strengths of the people that you're working with, and it means knowing how to delegate tasks effectively. So we have a really great team, and we're going to continue to recruit fantastic members. We've been working on that by with the outreach team, by establishing the Discord, by really growing it in the past 6 months. So on the national front, I think we have a lot of recruitment growth to do, but I think we have been doing more recently than we had a while back. So I am actually fairly optimistic about where we'll go from here in terms of what volunteers we can get for different positions. We have a really, I mean, as you can see here from the people that we have with us, and as I'm sure anyone will tell you, the people that I work with at least, and the people that I've seen in this organization, though they're leading busy lives, because we are pretty much, we all have our own things going on. We're not able to be full-time pirate party folks. We are all relatively skilled in fact, quite skilled, I would say, in a multitude of different areas. And so my job primarily, I think, ends up being finding out what those skills are and then putting people in the right places and giving them the tasks that they will succeed at the most, and making sure that, just making sure that the things go to the right places. It's like, you get those old pictures of the operators at the phone switchboards. And that's what I envision my job as. It's me, and I'm just going, okay, plug go over here. This plug goes over here. Put that cable over. Oh, nope, switch to that other part of the board. It's quick, and a lot of movement of people to different places, and a lot of delegation, really, at the end of the day. Yeah, so I'm excited to get to know all the wonderful people that I'm going to be working with even more, and to get to know their strengths.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love the image of the switchboard operator, really putting the executive function into the executive office. Nicely said. Joe, what is the primary responsibility as you see it for the office that you are seeking?
So for the treasurer, how I see the position is to make sure everything is in order. And as far as keeping all the ducks in a row, make sure that things are kept to a sensible and orderly conduct. And mostly, I feel like this position is somewhat of an honorary position because there's not a whole heck of a lot of cash flow as of yet. But we have established a bank account. We have, thanks to Bosun's good work, we are an organization. We are cooperative. And it's fundamentally my responsibility to make sure that that stays intact, to make sure the government is happy that we exist, or if they're not happy that we exist, to make sure that they can't just come in and squash us. And that being said, it will be very key for me to make sure that our bank account stays intact, that we still have funds that are in the positive, and that nobody can just reach in and scoop those out. So that when it comes a time where we need to print flyers or we need to book out a hotel to take over, we most certainly can. So when we get to the point where we're doing a DC rally, where we are just gonna storm the Capitol, because it's what we should be doing.
Phrasing.
Yeah. I think you should. Yeah, walk that one back, dude.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm taking a patriotic license with it. I don't expect us to actually storm anything. But that being said, and hopefully I didn't just upset you guys, but my whole
It's
point
good.
is I want to make sure that when it comes to the time that we need to do something, we have the money there to make sure that we are still an organization by all rights and laws and writs, and to make sure that we stay together when some of us need a prodding to come and help us on the national committee. Mouth. We have somebody to say, come on, and that person should be Jamie. Thank you.
All right. Well, I definitely think our names probably rose in prominence on whatever respective lists we might find ourselves upon.
You're welcome.
Well, we are pirates after all, so you know.
So it's worth noting that dialectically, lexicologically speaking, for pirates, a storm is when we all huddle together and then start rocking back and forth as strangers pelt us with buckets of pickle brine.
Oh, I forgot.
I think
about
what Malt's
the-
trying to say is that we do not intend to, nor do we endorse, nor do we ever intend to actually go into and storm the United States Capitol. That would be absurd.
Yeah, like for one, I'm not gonna. I just caught myself swearing, but like it's been done already, and like
It's so early January.
it's passe. It really is.
I don't guarantee all of my ideas are good ideas. But I present them nonetheless.
We shall elect a storm of representatives and senators who shall exert the will of pirates
Yes,
in the in our federal legislature. There we go.
that is what we will do.
But to fundamentally say what your original question was, Malt, I look to make sure that no one can stop us, and I will continue again to do so until you find somebody better or I'm dead.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe.
You're
I
welcome, sir.
definitely appreciate your fiscal vigilance, as it is worth noting that it was the IRS that took down Al Capone.
There was.
Mhm. And like, if you think about it, Al Capone is really kind of a land pirate. Oh no, that's a bad point to make. Anyway, moving on. Jamie, what is the primary responsibility of the office which you seek?
So the primary responsibility of the office of scribe or secretary is to make sure that all of our meeting minutes, all of our votes, all decisions that we made are documented and there for all of our members to see and all of our state parties to see. Additionally, it's to make sure that state parties are, in the system, shall we say, and set up, and all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted so they can participate in the decision-making process. And so that's what I aim to do. I aim to make sure that we have timely notes, that our supporters are, once we are regularly sending out newsletters, know what decisions have been made and can see the context for those decisions. At this point, you can go and it's a minor thing, but you can go and look at our bylaws and you can see the edit history of this thing was added in this Pirate National Committee meeting, and here's the link to that meeting. So you can be able to see those things and kind of keep track of that. We just, it's helping to make sure that we're doing better outreach to our supporters so that they know what we're doing, and they know that we are transparent and above board, and it's a party that they feel they can be proud of.
Nicely said. Thank you very much. I will say thank you for the work you do keeping notes for the Massachusetts Pirates. I tried doing it once. I kept the notes in a document, and then I went to upload them, and it involved more than one step, so I got scared and ran away. So, Bosun, what would you say is the primary responsibility of the office of which you seek?
To sit around and wait for Yari to die.
You know, I respect your brevity.
Well, I can help out. I help out on things, and there's I certainly need to contribute more time to other things. I think like figuring out why crew gets SQL errors is one of them.
I think you'll also be a very capable secondary speaker on behalf of the party. Maybe we should have press releases and we should contact media. We can do that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. You could put my name down. I don't mind doing that. I did a radio show for over a year that was weekly, and in fact, the last couple of months, I was actually on a morning show, so we did it every flipping day during the week. That was. But yes, that I didn't mention the Pirate Party as much in the morning show as I did in the evening show I had, because I actually called it the Bosun Hour and it discussed pirate politics.
Nice. There's definitely like now that people are driving again, radio popularity has returned to pre-COVID levels, and there is. I think we can all agree, a notable absence of progressive voices on the radio. Looking at you pointedly, NPR. Fucking capitalist traitors. Oh, whoops, I cussed. Sorry about that. Apologies to the thousands and thousands of babies that I have just traumatized with my word weapons. As I attempt to stall while I think of another question.
Quick, think.
Yari Ever Organized has a list.
I was going to say I have a question. I have questions.
Please.
Okay. So my question is, I mean, they are more specific questions. In terms of, I guess I just kind of want to start a discussion about stuff, which is inter-party things, and not just internationally, but also nationally, in terms of, so we had some discussions at the beginning of this context. Sorry. We had some discussions at the beginning of this about cooperation or not cooperation with the international pirates. But I think there's also the context of whether we work with or not work with other third parties in the United States. So my question is essentially, what is the place of external organizational cooperation that you see for the Pirate Party, and how can we, where do you see, I guess then my next part of that question is, since there are parts of any cooperation with other people where pirate politics will butt heads with other folks, who or what groups might be the easiest to cooperate with, or alternatively, how might we be able to overcome some of that tension?
I'll take some of that.
Yeah.
And I just have to say that I do apologize. I have to leave, but I really appreciate everything that all of you do. So that being said, I think that we will be in good hands with that question with Bosun. I look forward to your response.
Thanks for stopping by, Joe.
Here, Joe.
Lovely to
Now
have you.
you put all the pressure on me. Oh.
It's a discussion. It's a discussion.
Well, no,
Thanks, Joe.
I
Have a
think
good one.
I think there are, the fact is when you say like this, the statement about right-wing radio versus left-wing radio or whatever you want to consider it, or progressive radio, there are lots of movements out there, and there are lots of things that we can touch upon. I think typically when you talk about like unions, which have a big influence in politics, they're pretty much in bed with the Democrats, and it's kind of hard to convince them that it would be good to support pirates. But on the other hand, you can earn their respect. You can certainly go and work on some causes that they're involved with, just like working on Black Lives Matters, working on civil rights issues today, I think are more and more important. And if you're willing to show up and go to the streets with those people or those groups, what usually happens is you initiate a dialogue. I mean, after a while, they stop telling the stupid pirate jokes, like, how could you? Yeah. And they start talking to you, which is it's very interesting. You know what I mean, right? The stupid pirate joke. How can you support a pirate?
I will amend what you said about the unions and Democrats. I largely agree with you with them being in bed with the Democrats. I used to be a union organizer, and I can during that point, it was widely understood in the union that the Democrats are backstabbers and untrustworthy. And I can only imagine that this sentiment has gotten worse post-Obama era. So, 100% agree with you about what you said about showing up with people and like getting into the streets. I would also posit that there is often not a lot of technical experience in activist groups.
Mm-hmm.
So we can use that to help bolster their efforts and use that as a way to talk about our technical planks and why we care, like why what we care about is important, as an invitation for them to incorporate that into their own groups.
Yeah, and actually, on the other hand, there are unions which have typically supported the Republicans too, particularly like the
Police
police unions. Okay, so it doesn't.
Customs and Border Protection.
Yeah, it
ICE,
doesn't all go
yeah.
one way.
I mean, to Malt's point, I think that's a really good, if we had like a website people could go to of, here you have this problem, here's free software, open source software that you can use, here's how to set it up. Well, here's, if you need it hosted, you can go to May 1st or another hosting provider who we find, has similar viewpoints ideologically. And then, that is a toolkit for them to be able to use with the, hey, if you want someone to come and talk with you about it, we're here to help. I think that's, making that as a resource, I think would be a useful thing. Especially, how to use, lots of people are starting to use Signal and it's becoming easier to use, but still not everyone does. And so being able to teach them how to use Signal, how to use Tor. I mean, the Mass Pirates have done crypto parties in the past, and those have been generally well received. But there's of course more that we could be doing in that area.
Yes, yes, and not only that, political campaigns are usually extraordinarily lax on internet security. So it's always good to point out how they can make a more secure campaign site, or start using encrypted mail and things like that, because those sites are look at our history in the last 8 years, basically, right? With the Democrats getting hacked, right? All the mails being revealed. And not that we're against the transparency of having people gladly show their emails, but on the other hand, we're not for them being pried out through nefarious means. And anyways, I mean, what does it matter if two people are arguing over something that is really about their bedroom issue and has nothing to do with national politics?
So
Which is usually what becomes the big storyline, right? From the opposition when the mail gets leaked.
So Yari, I mean, it's your question. What other groups would you like to partner with?
You're on mute, Yuri.
My bad. Thank you.
Happens to us all.
Yeah, I know, right? So to my point earlier with the question that you asked, Malt, about what I wanted to accomplish in the year, I think my main thing here is I really want to seek out collaborations with other political entities in the United States to see if we can further the goal of getting ranked choice as a significant movement in the near future. Because I think it's a legitimate possibility given the current political climate. That being said, I think there are difficulties with that, as Bosun and Jamie have talked about. There's and I showing up and talking to the people who have their boots on the ground is oftentimes the solution to solving those problems, right? Talking to the people who are actually organizing the campaigns and the movements. And I think one of the things that I hadn't really specifically been thinking about, which Bosun, I'm really glad you brought it up, is organizing specifically with a lot of the activism movements, such as Black Lives Matter, or such as, really any of the more protest-focused or activist-focused movements that are out there doing more event-based activism as opposed to political, election-based stuff. I think organizing with them, it tends to involve more, if you're there and you show up and you work with them, you have an in, you can talk with them and they respect you just for being there. Because as long as you show up consistently and you prove that you are a part of that community by showing up consistently, that's all you need to do, because that's how you do it. And then you can start to have discussions with them about that. And I think that ranked choice voting is something that really any of those communities would get behind. So
Sorry, one thing, if I can just interject. I think it's important to also play to our strengths. So focusing on issues in terms of personal privacy, both in terms of protecting your personal privacy, but also in making sure legislation gets passed. Against surveillance, whether it's corporate surveillance, whether it's governmental surveillance, Facebook pulling everything in and monetizing it, or Twitter for that matter. Being able to make connections with other groups, even groups like the EFF, the ACLU, and and folks like Restore the Fourth,
A move.
are groups that we can work with and help them in their efforts as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Move to amend is another one. That,
Thanks
Right.
for that. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta say the the
I've
ranked
stuffed the child into bud, so I'll be back.
Okay.
the ranked choice voting folks in Massachusetts are real sweethearts, and it was nice to work alongside them, even though sadly it was rather trounced. But there was one town in Massachusetts where ranked choice voting passed by like 90%, and we never did figure out how they managed to get that in that one town. But like it was like impressive to the point of like glitch.
Hmm.
That's knocking on all the doors again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Would be my guess. Years ago, there was an attempt by the Working Families Party to get fusion voting passed in Massachusetts. Fusion voting is where you can have multiple parties can nominate the same candidate. And so, you could vote if there were, say, a Democrat and a Working Families Party, you could choose to, vote for them under the Democrat or the Working Families Party. And, that way they can see where their support comes from. And it deals with the spoiler argument. Ultimately the problem, that failed. I think they only got 1/3 of the vote, whereas it was much closer with instant runoff voting. The folks really, really worked. The RCV folks really, really worked hard, both with ads, with door-to-door, with calling, with being incredibly active. And, they got in the mid-40s, if I recall correctly. It wasn't that far to get it. So next time around, I've seen it like in Massachusetts, we had 3 ballot initiatives to get rid of greyhound racing. It took 3 times to do that, but they did ultimately succeed. And so I think with RCV, that can also succeed as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, you just need to take some time, get it passed in municipalities and, where you can succeed. And then people would be like, oh, okay, this isn't that big a deal. This isn't a big change. They're not afraid of it, and it'll pass.
Yeah.
It's like with how Americans talk about voting, it is like a major element of the civic religion. So the prospect of changing it is really terrifying. And then like the major point becomes convincing people that it's not a scary change, it's just more options.
Yeah. I know we're waiting on Bosun with holding for Kid Tech, basically. I do want to be conscious of the fact that we are running at about an hour, or a little bit over, since we started. So don't know if Malt, did you have additional questions that you wanted to ask? Maybe like a finale sort of wrap-up question, and then maybe we can kind of give closers to the whole thing.
If you had to summarize your stance as something you shout while surmounting a barricade, like give me a once more to the breach to your friends.
Oh gosh.
We're bringing it back to Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Give me privacy or give me death.
I mean, Like I like
But that
it,
is
but
the case, you know. Sorry, you're saying well.
that's one of those like the futuristic dystopia really comments on the present reality.
Oh gosh.
Well, I mean, as Margaret Atwood said, even Orwell wrote 1984 to say that even that ended. So I think we can be optimistic.
Yeah, I have to say I don't know that there is a single sentence. Part of the wonders of the pirate plank is that, or the pirate plank. There's not even one plank, right? Part that's the thing, right? Part of the wonders of the pirate stuff. I don't want to say ideology. It's not an ideology. Positions is that it is A, flexible, and B, it's extensive. I don't know that I can necessarily summarize it in that. But you're not asking me to summarize pirate stuff. You're asking me to summarize my own.
Yeah.
I think it would be something along the lines of the world will be the world will be gosh, what do I want to say? The world will be freer if we just don't shut up. It's not very eloquent. It's not very eloquent, but you know what? Neither am I. The world will be freer if we just don't shut up. I think fundamental to any movement is persistence. And I also think that fundamental to the pursuit of both freedom and privacy is communication and the breaking down of barriers to communication, but not privacy barriers. There's a difference there, and it's subtle, but it's important. So it's really not that subtle if you think about it, but it's language, same words, different meaning.
The world will be freer if we don't shut up. I love that. That is going to stick with me.
Thank you.
That's going to bounce around my head anytime I start doubting my own artistic abilities.
Yeah, no, I mean, it very much applies to art as well.
Anytime I'm trying to write and all I can think of is Cruella de Vil hates Dalmatians.
Oh,
because
gosh.
her mom was
Oh,
killed
right.
by Dalmatians.
Oh. Right?
Like, wow. I guess it's just all in the nose these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seems like we might be down one bosun.
Mm-hmm. I think it might have escalated to a kid emergency.
It certainly seems that way. Jamie, do you want to give any additional closing statements?
I mean, ultimately, a party is ultimately it's just the people who make up the party that move it forward. So we have, I think, a good team to do that. We obviously need to find more people, and we need to show them that the future is bright for the Pirate Party and that we have significance and that the world needs us. and that we need them. And ultimately, we will get there. But let's make sure this year is the start of that building process toward ultimate pirate domination of massive U.S. politics.
Pirate domination.
Huzzah!
Democratic pirate domination.
Yes,
a
pirate
small
domination. Pirate domination in Congress.
The abject despotic rule of the people.
Yes, exactly. Well, and that indeed is what democracy is, by definition. So, I'll cheers to that.
Nice.
And
I like your mug.
thank you. And here's hoping that the day comes soon, that ours is truly a more direct democracy, and that the pirates can bring something like that about sooner. Bosun, hey!
Huzzah! We were just talking about you.
And we have a question from Malt.
So, don't look so distressed. If you had to summarize your philosophy in something you shout while surmounting a barricade, what would it be? Your mic, you're muted.
You're muted.
Good, muted.
Yeah.
Because, I probably just quote some bad rebellion like "Workers of the world unite. We have nothing to lose but our change."
Hey, that's a good one, though.
But yeah, that's classic for a reason.
But I don't know. I think we're egalitarianism is kind of a good path. What is it? The French Revolution used.
Liberté et égalité.
Yeah.
Fraternité.
Fraternity. Yeah.
Egalité, fraternité, liberté. Yep.
Right. And I don't think, I think people want they want government that makes sense, that is somewhat logical, that where laws are equally applied to everybody, which is kind of one of the Greek definitions of democracy is everybody's equal under the law. And I think people are kind of feel like there's all kinds of people all over the place that are cheating the system, and they're not there because they're not the insiders. They're not part of the cheat. And some of that's true and some of it's not true. But I think that also what leads to conspiracy theories like like QAnon view of the world is just like, wow, I'm outside of this and I don't know what they're doing. They could be running, selling children in that pizza joint. It's just like, but I think that comes from a disconnect between the people and the government, and there never really should be a disconnect between the people and the government. The Enlightenment view is that was kind of like the Enlightenment wall that came down is to say, well, the government's not ordained by God. It's not the divine right of kings. It is the will of the people. And even if the people live under a bad government, the only reason that government remains is because they haven't been so disgusted as to overthrow that government. Because you cannot function as a government without some kind of passive acceptance, at least, by the people you rule. So really, in truth, the people are the origins of all the power of government. So I guess that's my motto.
Nicely. Nice. That's a very large barricade.
Yeah. Because you got to put everybody on it.
It's climbing up
Yeah.
people like a human pyramid. All right. Was that it?
I think so. I mean, we are pretty much at time. I mean, we're overtime of sorts. I mean, there's not really a specific time limit on this, but anyway, unless there are any final bits that anyone wants to say, raise your hand if you're like yearning to shout something out. No. Okay, great. Okay, so cool. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to this, our final candidate forum of the two. Tomorrow is our...
What is going on tomorrow?
I will tell you. Thank you so much for your timely and very poignant question, Bosun. Well, you'll see there are, if you check out our live stream videos that are scheduled on this channel, actually, tomorrow there are two events. There's one scheduled for our very own Jamie's, Jamie's lovely stream tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, in which Jamie will be giving a talk about how to run for local office.
Well, how to run for any office.
How to run for any office. My bad. How to run for any office. Very exciting stuff. So do be sure to check that out. If you were ever thinking about running for office, or even if you weren't, maybe this stream will convince you that it's something that you might want to consider doing. It might be easier than you think it is. You just got to know all the steps. Jamie has the insider's information on what that is. So get ready.
He'll come to your district and go door to door with you.
Well, maybe not.
Well,
Virtually.
If it's not too far, it's got to be a bit closer.
It's got to be in Massachusetts.
It's got to be in Massachusetts. If he has time. Do check out that stream, though. That will be very useful and very exciting. So that is fun at 6 p.m. Eastern, again, on this channel. And we will, of course, send links out for that on all our social media beforehand, and there will be a Q&A. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow as well, we will be having our elections for the officer positions and the official Pirate National Committee meeting in which we hold those elections on this same channel, same live stream, same time as usual, same bat time, same bat channel. Sorry, I even said that. Okay.
It would be pirate time.
Same pirate time, same pirate channel. Thank you, Bosun. That's more what I want. Same pirate time, same pirate channel. That's what I should have done. See, got to get better on the uptake. Okay. So do come here to check that out. That's it. Then that will be the end of our conference. After the elections, we'll have some closing statements, and that'll be it. 2 weeks. It's been a lot of fun, everyone. As always, leave any questions or comments down below in our comments. Be sure to like and subscribe for future videos. We will be having more stuff on this channel. I know there was a dearth of content up until recently, but we are excited and are planning on having quite a bit more in the near future. So do subscribe here for more stuff.
I hope next year we can have coffee and coffee cake at the end.
That would be cool, right? That would be cool. An
virtual,
actual
have
conference.
pictures.
An actual conference. Yeah, pictures of coffee cake. So we'll see what happens.
NFTs.
Oh, no.
Nice
How about
fresh
FTs,
treats.
fungible
Thank you.
tokens?
Yes, nice fresh treats. There we go. Nice fresh treats. Very nice malt. Okay, well, thank you all for joining on behalf of everyone here. It has been a pleasure, and we hope to see you tomorrow for the finale of our conference, and then we hope to see you more in the future here on the channel. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening or rest of your day, and
thank you, everybody.
yeah,
Take care.
we'll see you.
Bye. Check us out
Fare
at
thee well.
uspirates.org.
Don't talk to cops.
That's one way to end it.
All right,
Well,
we're cleared.